Let me ask you something. Have you ever started looking into low tox living? Maybe you've read a label on a cleaning product, or you've heard something about chemicals in clothing or personal care products, and suddenly you start looking around your home a little differently. Maybe you've noticed the detergent in the laundry room, the fragrance in the air freshener, the fabrics you wear every day, and then a second thought creeps in. If all of this is true, where do I even start? Because once you begin noticing the materials and the chemicals woven into modern life, doing nothing about it doesn't really feel neutral anymore. But changing everything all at once, that can feel overwhelming. So today I am going to talk about the moment that really matters in terms of sustainable living. The moment you stop circling the idea of change and start making a few intentional shifts that actually move the needle. And if this has been on your mind lately, okay, you're in the right place. Because in this episode, we're going to talk about why thoughtful people hesitate when it comes to non-toxic living. That mental block that shows up, and why the goal isn't perfection. It's simply knowing where to start. Because creating a healthier home doesn't require turning your life upside down. Sometimes it just begins with a reset. Are you eating well, moving your body, maybe even reading labels and still thinking, I'm doing all the healthy things, so why do I still feel off? If that's you, you're in the right place. Welcome to Start Living Sustainable, the podcast where your health finally gets the foundation the other pillars need to work. Because what you're exposed to in your home and on your body is quietly raising your toxic load and forcing your food and fitness to work harder than they should. Hi, I'm Cynthia, a non-toxic lifestyle strategist who learned the cost of exposure the long way, years before most women even know to look. Now you can start where I wish I could have, so your body can respond to the work you're already doing, not fight against it. Because when your foundation is supported, your sleep, hormones, clarity, and even your workouts finally catch up with your intentions without turning your life into a project. If you're ready, let's begin. Welcome to Start Living Sustainable. If you have ever wondered what really is in the products you use, the clothes you wear, and the air you breathe inside your home, you're not the only one. And I want you to know you're in the right place. My background is in fashion and textile science, and asking those same questions completely changed the direction of my own personal wellness journey. You see, here we focus on simple changes that make the biggest difference, what I call the healthy home reset. How to live a little cleaner, a little smarter, and a lot more sustainably. And if at some point you decide you'd like a professional set of eyes on your home environment, and that can be virtually, you can book a healthy home reset audit. Go to startlivingsustainable.com, startlivingsustainable.com, and book your session. And let's get started right now. We look together at the biggest opportunities to improve your home environment without overwhelm. But first, let me share something I see happening all the time. It wasn't too long ago I was talking with someone who had started reading about chemicals in everyday products, and at first it was just curiosity. But then she switched a cleaning product here and then one there. And before you knew it, she had learned something about fragrances listening to my podcast. Then she heard about the plastics, then the fabrics. And then one day she said something that really stuck with me. The more I learn, the more I feel like everything in my house is wrong. And I told her something I wish more people understood. Nothing in your home is wrong. You just know more now than you did before. You see, awareness can feel uncomfortable at first because it shows us possibilities we didn't see before. Here's the psychological challenge most people face. Once you see your environment differently, it's very hard to unsee it. But at the same time, changing everything can feel unrealistic. So this is just how our brains work. The brain does what it often does when it feels overwhelmed. It stalls. And you might hear yourself saying thoughts like, where do I start? Or what if I can't afford it? Or what if I do it wrong? And suddenly doing nothing feels easier. Here's the important part. Doing nothing is still a decision. When I work with clients, people often assume improving their home environment means replacing everything overnight, but that's never how I approach it. Instead, we identify the areas where a small change can make the biggest impact. And this is all personalized because we all live different lifestyles. Because modern homes contain hundreds of products, materials, and surfaces. So exposure happens every single day. The real skill isn't trying to fix everything, it's knowing where to focus first. And that's exactly the thinking behind what I call a healthy home reset. You see, a reset isn't about perfection, it's about stepping back and asking one simple question. What are the few changes that would meaningfully improve the environment I live in every day? Sometimes it's the inside air, and that's what we focus on. Sometimes it's laundry products. Sometimes it's fabric. Sometimes it's food storage. But when you approach this strategically, something interesting happens. The overwhelm begins to fade because instead of solving everything, you're simply making one thoughtful decision at a time. I just remember one client I was working with who felt exactly this way. She had been learning about non-toxic living for years. She had heard about it, wanted to know more about it. She was curious, but she still felt stuck. But once we looked at her home environment together, the path forward became clear. Instead of switching 20 things, we focused on the two highest impact areas in her home. And within weeks, she told me something I hear quite often. I finally feel like I know what I'm doing. That clarity is powerful because when people understand the logic behind their decisions, sustainable living stops feeling complicated. It starts feeling intentional. And I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine walking through your home and feeling confident about the choices you've made there. Not because everything is perfect, but because you understand the materials, the products, the environment you're creating for yourself and the people you care about. That's really the goal of sustainable living, not perfection. It's clarity. It's getting a clear understanding, and that's exactly what we worked together on during my Healthy Home Reset. So let's recap. If you have been thinking about creating a healthier home, but you feel stuck or overwhelmed, remember 3 things. 1, awareness begins the journey. 2, perfection isn't required. And 3, small strategic changes can make a significantly, surprisingly large difference over time. If you'd like help identifying where those changes could make the biggest difference in your home, you can book your Healthy Home Reset audit session with me again at startlivingsustainable.com. So together we can look at your home environment and identify the areas where a few thoughtful shifts can improve your everyday living space, okay? If this episode helped you see your home a little differently, share it with someone you care about who might also benefit. And if you're enjoying Start Living Sustainable, leave a quick review. It takes 30 seconds. It really does help more people discover the show and begin their healthy home reset. Until next time, remember, sustainable living starts at home.